Next topic we have is report standardization and presentation practices. The first one here is data standardization. Now, in an organization, there could be employees like who are related to a specific department, but there could be, if at all we talk about the sales executive, there could be more than 10 sales executives in a particular organization. There could be more than two people who take care of the accounts. So here the data that is required by each set of user, or the data that is required by even the each individual users, is different. So this data standardization is going to help such users. It is going to provide them with the specific information that they want. Also, if these users are going to cooperate or going to collaborate with again different kinds of people in the organization, and they require the data that is related to different departments, that is also given to them by this data standardization. Next you have is content standardization. Here it specifically talks about the name of the report. When you give a report a particular name, just by looking at this name, the report details should be very much clear. So here, if you are talking about shipping details, and this is the title of a report, so just by looking at this, it should be clear to the people who is referring the report what this report is going to contain. So they say that the title of the report should be relevant to the content. Next you have is presentation standards. So every organization or an enterprise may follow certain standards to present the reports. Like they might ask the people who are generating the reports to put a logo and the company name on the cover page. They might also ask the people who generate the reports to make use of only black ink or only make use of a black color font and stick to particular font style or a font size. So these are the decisions taken by the company when presenting the reports. Next you have is metrics standardization. Metrics is a standard basically for measuring something. So if a company decides to measure the success or it wants to know the status, so it can follow various techniques. It can make use of rating methodologies, like the customers are asked to rate based on 5 out of the 5 stars they are asked to rate what is the success level of this particular company. Next you have is a reporting tools standardization. Some of the companies make use of proper reporting tools for the different requirements. So these requirements could be for a particular department or could be related to particular audience. Next you have is common report layout types. So what are the layout that the report follows? First one is a tabular report. So in this tabular report, how is the data presented? So when you talk about a tabular report, it is going to be in the form of columns, and the number of columns that are given in a tabular report is fixed. It is going to be finite. It is somewhat like representing the columns in a database. So here the tabular report can have a header, footer, it can have detailed rows, it can also be grouped based on various fields. Next you have is a matrix report. Matrix is combination of rows and columns. So here it is one level above the tabular report. In a matrix report, it could be based on aggregations of the data, or it could be based on summarization of the table data. Next you have is list report. In list report, it is going to give us the report in detail. Like you imagine we have a column called as product. So inside the product we have bikes, we have commodities, then we have electrical appliances, we have clothing. So now we have 4 rows inside this product column. So each of this row can be again expanded in detail. We can expand our bike row in detail, and this particular row can have various rows and columns again. Then bikes, this particular row can have again detailed reporting, and so on. Next you have is the chart report. When you talk about chart reports, it is going to concentrate on various types of bar graph, line graph, charts, pivot charts. Just by looking at these charts, we are able to understand what the report is trying to tell us, what the data is trying to tell us. Next you have is the gauge report. So here you can see an image. This image is called as a gauge. So based on this, the reports are generated. So if this particular meter is here towards the end, suppose we have marked this 0 up till 100. So if you want to measure the success percentage of the students, and if this is pointing here, it means that the student is having around 50% marks. If it comes here, we say that it is 100, and if it is here, it is measured as 0. So this is about the common report types. Next we have is the different types of delivery formats that the reports use. First one is the printed reports. This is used only when it is very much essential, that is having a hard copy of the report. This is avoided most of the times and is used in only when it is actually required. Next you have is the secure soft copy. We are already familiar with this. We make use of the uneditable types, that is the PDFs. We can make use of zip files. We can make use of password protected documents. Next you have is email attachments. So you can attach reports to your emails and then mail it. Next you have is embedded emails. So instead of attaching a file to the email, what you can do is you can type in the email and make it password protected and encrypted, and then save and forward it. Next you have is FTP. So here you can transfer the reports to the local systems with the help of this protocol called as FTP. Also you can give password and protect it. Next is a link to the reports. You may generate a report and you may store it in a particular server, and then instead of attaching it, you can just give the link in the email. This is called as link to the reports. Next you have is worksheet, PowerPoint presentations, etc. So here this is related to the self analysis for the user. So some users may want this such kind of reports for their own analysis, and hence they can make use of these worksheets, Excel sheets. They can make use of PowerPoint presentation or various text editors. Last one you have is the ebook. So here reports can be grouped together and you can format it and then publish it in the form of a ebook. So this ebook can be published and it can be downloaded also on mobile devices, but can be downloaded only by those specific users who have access to this ebook.